Hey there, H-Town Wheelhouse here with the Locked on Astros, and tonight we bring you a two-part series where I talk about the Arizona Fall League and the two stars shining for the Houston Astros, and Eric will come in for a second segment talking about the Rule 5 draft. Let's get going right now.
Jainel Diaz, this is Locked on Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked on Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Heisman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chansey.
Hey there, everybody, and welcome into this edition of Locked on Astros. I'm H-Town Wheelhouse. I'm here with your everyday, your daily podcast, your team every day, Locked on Astros. Myself and Eric Heisman have been doing this for 18 plus years combined, and we love bringing you Astros news, whether it's in the postseason, whether it's getting ready for spring training, or in the playoffs. We know this year that didn't happen, so let's not try to open old wounds. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. It is here for new customers. If you bet $5, if your first $5 bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download today. Make sure you are an everydayer because it is the coolest thing to do. It is the truest fan that is the everydayer, and that's why we need your team every single day, and we need you on our team every single day. Not only do we cover the team, but we cover all the things going on with the team, the news, the stats, the inside, the outside, whatever it is with Houston Astros baseball. We are here for you. Thank y'all for stopping by. So I want to start off by talking about the rising stars in the Arizona Fall League for the Houston Astros. And I want to focus on two players in particular. I want to focus on James Hicks, and I also want to focus on Walker Yanik, who we actually were able to interview. If you recall that interview, we interviewed him the day before he actually signed his contract with the Houston Astros in Houston. One of the cool things that I like to see is his pop time. He's got the best pop time in the AFL right now with 1.71 seconds. And if you're asking, what is pop time? What does that mean? I'm glad you asked. Well, pop time is simply how fast the catcher gets the ball out of the hand, how fast the catcher receives the ball, throws it, releases the ball to throw a runner out. And if you recall to the interview that Eric and I did with Walker, he said his favorite part of catching was throwing runners out, and he's doing that absolutely well. Now, I have this, and I don't know if there is an update to this, but through 7 games, he posted 333 average, an 1108 OPS, 3 doubles, 3 home runs, and 18 RBI. He is performing well. You absolutely love to see it because this kid is a stud behind the plate, and it's just a matter of time before he makes it up here. He probably has an arrival time of 2027, late 2020, or I would say 2026. I don't know if he would come in late 25. He might still be too raw at that time and not yet long enough in the tooth. But Walker Yanik is one to keep our eyes on because he is simply, and he's a stud. The kid is a catching stud. And I loved when we also interviewed his coach at Sam Houston State, talked about the kid's work ethic. You know, he grew up in Corpus. He was a Hooks fan. He just, everything to me says big league player with this guy. And he was a first round pick. Remember, he was 28th overall. And it's just great for us to see these guys in the Arizona Fall League. And before I get on to the pitcher of the week, the guys that are there with the Houston Astros or representing the Astros in the Arizona Fall League are Joseph Sullivan, who's a grandson to Heisman Trophy winner from 1971 NFL quarterback Patrick Sullivan. That's pretty cool. Jerron Williams. He is a plus speed and topped NCAA Division I with 49 steals and 53 tries at Toledo in 23. The pitchers, Anderson Brito, we've talked about him. Some evaluators believe that the action on his mid-90s fastball and lower 80s slider make Brito Houston's best pitching prospect. He signed for $10,000 out of Venezuela. We love people from Venezuela on this team. James Hicks, who I'll talk about in a second. Hudson Leach, who's absolutely playing phenomenal. I think Hudson Leach has like 10 or 11 scoreless innings. I mean, he's just throwing the heck out of the ball. Derek True as well. A right-handed pitcher. Derek True, get this. So he has 4 pitches, a 92 to 96 fastball, low 80 sweeper, upper 80 splitter, and a curve that sits around 80. He's out of Cal Poly from 2023. And Nate Walgenmuth, who is a right-handed pitcher in the Frontier League and an independent ball, he had a 3.13 ERA and opponent batting average of 179. Now, look, I know that's a lot of stats. I know that's a lot of numbers to throw at you. And yes, the Blue Jays are winning, so that's a good thing. It looks like they're going to be going back to Toronto, and the Blue Jays may actually be leading 3-2 if they close it out tonight versus Blake Snell and the Dodgers. So the Astros have a lot of things going for them in the Arizona Fall League, and you absolutely love to see it. So who is hot right now? Other than Walker Yanik, you have a pitcher that you may not know about. You may know about if you follow the Astros closely. I know we have smart fans, but this is a guy that is absolutely killing it in every way. He was the pitcher of the month in the Arizona Fall League. I'm sorry, pitcher of the week for week 3 in the Arizona Fall League. His name is James Hicks. Okay. James Hicks is a right-hander. James Hicks is a guy that's got good stuff. Let me give you some of his stats real quick. After completing 4 more scoreless innings on October 24th start, he has 11 unscored upon to begin his Fall League tenure, racking up 14 strikeouts in that span and an opponent batting average of 139. Look, that's great. And look, I know it's Arizona Fall League, but these are all studs. These are all guys that are going to be future stars in Major League Baseball. More than likely, they're getting more work. They're getting more instruction. They're actually playing for the Scorpions. So that's who this pitcher is actually pitching for right now. And so James Hicks for the Astros, Kevin McCognell for the Detroit Tigers is their top prospect. He got hitter of the week in week 3. I hope to see Walker Yanik get that award here pretty soon. That would be nice to see him do that while he's there, but he's raking. He's actually delivering some really, really solid stuff. Again, thank y'all for stopping by. We are your team every single day. I have the first half of the show. Eric is going to have the second half, and I'll be kicking it to him here in a few minutes. But the question is, where do the Astros rank? Now, we don't have any rankings right now that are new, but let me remind you of some painful news. We know the Astros rank is not very high. Hasn't been very high for a while. But they were 29th in 2024. Mid-season, they were 30th. Preseason 2023, they were 27th. Mid-season, they were 30th. In 2023 preseason, they were 27th. Right now, they're 29th. I mean, the last ranking we have was 29th. I've seen somewhere around 26th. Problem is they just don't have the capital. They don't have the draft picks. People that say the Astros were not punished for 2017 are absolutely intellectually being dishonest. That's as nice as I could say it. There are a few other things I wanted to throw in there, but I'm trying not to insult people's intelligence because I don't like when people insult mine. And trust me, there's plenty of that to go around. I say one thing wrong and people jump on it and they're like, they go straight to it. But the Astros system rank is what it is. It's not going to change until the Astros maybe hit a home run in this next year's draft. Eric and I tomorrow night are going to talk about who free agents are going to be. Well, I can tell you this. Framber Valdez is going to be a free agent. He will get a qualifying offer. Victor Caratini is a free agent. I believe Brendan Rodgers is a free agent, and there might be one or two others. So we got guys that are going to be free agents. We will get a compensation pick if Framber Valdez is signed somewhere else between 4th and 5th round. Not bad, but we've got Xavier Nayans from this last year who's supposed to be a stud, but he's several years out because he is out of high school. Kid's got pop, but he's out of high school. So our mission rank right now, our mission. Wow. Sorry, I've been teaching Texas history a lot lately, and we've been talking about missions. So our system rank is 29th. Before we get too far along, and before I have to say bye and kick it over to Eric, I want to tell you that this episode is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. You know, FanDuel is America's #1 sports book, and it's where you want to go right now because why? It's NBA season, and there's no better place to be with the NBA than with their #1 sports betting partner. So ironic. Even if you miss the start of the game or you want to ride a hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that last push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets for your first $5 bet when it wins. So head to FanDuel today and sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Oh, what's up, everybody? H-Town Wheelhouse, you are Locked on Astros. Remember, we are your team every single day. Remember that we want you to check out MLB Game Night. MLB Game Night is where you can get your local news on a national level. Make us your first listen. Make MLB Game Night your second listen every day, every night until the World Series champion is crowned. Get local analysis on that national scale. Like I mentioned, find MLB Game Night on Locked on MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. Thank y'all for tuning in. We love that you guys join us every night. It is tough sometimes to talk about your team when they're not in it. And my ears are on fire. I don't know what's going on tonight. I don't know if it's because, I don't know, like this heat in my house. It's not hot, but when it's cold outside, anyways, I won't get into it. It's called, I've got a case of the OLD. I'm getting old. But you know what? I'm still a spring chicken in many regards. Our farm system, however, is not. Our farm system needs to get younger, needs to get better. And the sooner they do that, the better will be for the future of Houston Astros baseball. So we talked about the rank tonight, 29th overall. We talked about the two stars right now getting a ton of publicity in our guy James Hicks and Walker Yanik. And we also talked about everyone that's involved in the Arizona Fall League. So be looking for these players to show up during spring training. Look for some of these players to get their first big league spring training invites. That's going to be nice to see. And hopefully I can make it out to spring training this year. I would love to do that. You know what? I am so glad that you stopped by. I'm honored that y'all are listening, whether you're watching, whether you're listening. Share this with a friend. Hey, look, we need 10 subscribers in the next 24 hours. Okay. Let's get subscribers in the next 24 hours. Next show, I'll announce a giveaway, but we want to do a subscriber push over the next few weeks, all the way through November. Why? Because in December, we're starting some new things, some new opportunities that's going to be exciting for you. You'll be able to get deeper and more exclusive with us, and you'll be able to get messages from us directly on a daily basis. So thank y'all for tuning in. And you know what? I'm going to kick it over to Eric. Eric's going to talk to us about the Rule 5 draft. Y'all enjoy it. And as always, go Stros.
Thanks, Brett. It's kind of weird that we're talking about stuff that's going to happen in December. Right now, during the winter meetings, when the World Series is going on, it's just crazy that the Astros season ended so early. We're not used to this stuff, but here we are. you've got to protect certain players that could help you in the future. And that's what the Rule 5 is all about. I know that a lot of Astros players, you might like them, you might not like them. I know on November 21st, that's the non-tender deadline. They could open up some space by then. But at certain point, you have to protect some players. And so the question is, how many of these young players are you going to protect on the Astros roster? Because you have 40 spots on the 40-man roster, and they're all full right now because you had to activate all those injured players. And then the Astros went out and added another player already. So you don't really have any open spots. So you're going to see a lot of DFAs. You'll probably see some trades, some non-tenders along the way, because you got to add some more free agents. What if Framber Valdez decides to come back? There's going to be a lot of moving parts over the next couple months. So just buckle up. But for right now, we're going to talk about the Rule 5 players specifically. And later on, I'll go ahead and talk about some players that got away for the Houston Astros, especially the big fish that got away. And we'll talk about some players that the Astros have gotten in the Rule 5 draft. So let's go and jump right into it. For those of y'all that are not aware about what the rules are, the Rule 5 draft happens during the winter meetings. You basically go, it's just like a fantasy draft. You just go through and you either select a player. If you select a player, you have to offer that team X amount of money, and then that player has to stay on that team for the entire year. If that player's not the player that you thought he was, or you're not going to keep him on the team for the entire year, then you offer him back to the original team for basically half price. And so that's basically how it goes. And so you can find some diamond in roughs, some great players. Sometimes they turn out to be players that are not really that big a deal. But there are some big names that the Astros definitely need to look into, because if you don't sign these guys, somebody will. Somebody will go out and draft these guys during the Rule 5 draft. So that's something to take in consideration. So what players are up for Rule 5? I'm not going to go ahead and name every one of them. There are a whole bunch of them. There's a whole bunch of rules and regulations going into it, like how many years they've been in minor leagues. Were they a high school player when they're drafted versus a college player? That kind of affects their eligibility. But let's just go ahead and talk about the big three guys. You have Miguel Yola. He was a guy that was up for a Rule 5 draft last year. Nobody picked him up, but this past season, he had a great season, 7-6 with 3.88 ERA. He struck out 131 batters and 113 2/3 innings pitched in 28 appearances, 23 starts with AAA Sugarland. So I'm sure some of those were tandem starts. But this is a guy that if you're talking about a must protect, Yola is a guy that the Astros have got to go out there and protect, because some team is going to say, hey, look what this guy did in AAA. He is ready. He's ready to take the next leap, and they're going to take a leap of faith and say, hey, let's go ahead and draft him in the Rule 5 draft and put him at the back end of the bullpen. If he doesn't work, whatever, we'll just send him back to the Astros. But what if he does? I'll go ahead and just throw this name out there. Johan Santana. This was a guy that the Astros lost way back in the early 2000s. Imagine if he was on the Astros roster for all those years. This would have been a huge plus for the Astros. So what if Yola become that type of pitcher? So that's the type of risk that you run when you don't protect these type players. So that's what Dana Brown and the rest of the staff has to think about over the next couple weeks, month, whatever it is, until the protection deadline. So, guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Go ahead and subscribe to us. Go and make us first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, go and check us out. Hey, guys, let's go and talk about prize picks, whether you're picking prospects or picking who's going to do what in a World Series. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, whether it's at work, on the way home from work. Don't miss any excitement of sports season, whether you're following NFL, NBA, or both, or some other combination, maybe WNBA, whatever floats your boat. Don't miss the action. If you haven't tried it yet, Prize Picks is the simplest way to play. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats, and if you get them right, you win. It takes less than 60 seconds to make your lineup, and you can play anywhere Prize Picks operates, including California, Texas, and Georgia. So, for example, one time I had 5 players going, and one of them was Shohei Ohtani. It was during the playoffs, and 4 of them hit. But, of course, Shohei Ohtani went 0 for 5 that game with 5 strikeouts or 4 strikeouts. That's the fun of it. Sometimes you click, sometimes you don't click. So download the Prize Picks app today and use the code to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That code is LockedOnMLB for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day, whether it's on YouTube. Go ahead, subscribe to us. Go ahead and make us your first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast, go and check us out. So thank you for making us part of your daily routine. Brett and I are doing a tandem podcast today where I'm doing it a little bit earlier. He's doing it a little bit later, and we're just kind of throwing it together to make a tandem start like a lot of the Astros pitchers do in the farm system. So the Astros have found some success with this. So we figured like, hey, we're talking about the farm system today. Let's try to make this work. But I know that the Astros need to add some players. It's a risk. It's basically like gambling. Hey, do you think that if we leave this guy unprotected, will a team select him? And if you're talking about somebody like Miguel, Yola, yes, somebody's going to take him. He's the Astros' number 5th best prospect out there. Is he a top prospect? Is he a top 100 prospect? The Astros don't have a lot of those. And if they did, they definitely would be already protected by now. But Yola is a guy that I think that the Astros would definitely go ahead and protect. I know that if you're looking at the pitching in the Astros farm system, it's kind of weak, but you had some guys kind of come out of nowhere this past year. Jose Flurry is another one. He is 17th overall in the Astros farm system. He's a guy that likely will be protected, but granted, between 2 teams, including Corpus Christi and Sugar Land last year, he had a pretty good ERA. Actually, his ERA was 4.55. He had 5-2 record, but what you're looking at is what he did behind, like overall, and he just had a great season in 85 innings. He pitched really good, and they like his arm. They like what he offers. And if you're looking at his bio, he has a 50 grade fastball, a 45 grade curveball, 50 grade slider, a changeup, 60 grade. And if you haven't noticed, what the Astros like is the changeup. So definitely that's something to keep in mind because the Astros definitely like those changeups, especially in the farm system. So that's something that they're going to try to develop a little bit further. So I'm trying to see the full stats. Oh, there's the scroll bar. So he had opposing hitters to a 237 batting average, and he had 78 strikeouts and 85 innings pitched. So overall, it wasn't a great season, but overall, his career between 4 different years, he has a career 3.62 ERA in the minor leagues. Like I said, some team will look at this guy and say, hey, let's stick him at the back of the bullpen, see what happens. Who knows? And if he doesn't work out, we'll just offer him back to the Astros. It's a high risk, high reward. And if it doesn't work out, you don't lose much. And when you're talking about, it used to be 50,000 and 25,000. I don't know what the numbers are now, but if it only costs you 25,000 to see if a guy clicks, I'm sure a team will risk it. I know last year Yola was eligible to be drafted. Nobody took a flyer on him, so you never know. It's a crapshoot, but it depends on what the Astros scouts will think other scouts will do. And the other guy is a guy that honestly I haven't really heard about a lot until this year, but Allenberg Santana. He's a guy that pitched between Corpus Christi also and AAA, but he had a much better season, 3-2 record with 2.31 ERA. He had 82 strikeouts and 70 innings pitched, and the opposing hitters batted 185 against him. So I know that this is somebody that Brett has talked a lot about. So these are the type of guys that you have to have that serious conversation. Do we go out there and protect them? Because if they're gone, if somebody drafts them, they're not on your team anymore. The Astros already have a weak farm system, and Santa, I think I said Santana earlier. Sorry, I've got Johan Santana in my mind, but Allenberg Santa, but he is 13th on the Astros farm system. Yeah, there's other prospects that are a little bit higher, but if you keep on losing pieces, like you make a trade right here to get better for this season, you're losing more prospects. And the Astros brought in Dana Brown to have a better farm system. If you keep on losing these guys, it's going to hurt. So it's a choice that Dana Brown has to make. Is he going to go ahead and risk not protecting these guys? I know there's no spots open currently right now, but we'll see. So who have the Astros gained through the Rule 5 draft? Well, we all know Josh Fields. Not Josh Fields because of what he did with the Houston Astros. I guess he was okay, but they drafted him with the Rule 5 draft in 2012 from the Red Sox. They later traded him for some guy named Jordan Alvarez. I think he's a good player, but that was one of the best trades in Astros farm system history. Sorry, not Astros history. But Willie Taveras in 2003 was another Rule 5 draft. Wesley Wright, a lot of people may not remember him, but they took him from the Dodgers back in 2007. Brian Keane, I know it's a little bit different because he was a minor league phase pick. They drafted him from the Cubs, but those are some players that the Astros have drafted. I believe Marwin Gonzalez was also a minor league pick as well. But some of the guys that the Astros have lost, the big one, of course, is Johan Santana. It was back in 1999, the Rule 5 draft. Of course, the original team was the Houston Astros. The Marlins went ahead and took him. That's why I said big fish earlier, but they went. He actually went to the Twins. So they traded him right instantly to the Twins. So basically that's what you could do. But he went on to win the AL Cy Young Award in 2004, 2006. So sometimes you get good ones, sometimes you get bad. It just kind of happens whenever. So Luis Garcia Gonzalez, if you remember him back then, he was a rule guy that the Astros lost, but then he came back and he went on to have a good career. Tyler Clippard was a guy that was in Astros farm system. He was selected away in the minor league phase and went on to have a pretty good farm system. Mike Hochschild is a guy that the Astros lost in 2016 to the Rangers. David Rollins, they lost in 2014 to the Mariners. So those are just some of the players that they gained and lost over the lifespan of the Houston Astros that I could find or remember. So, guys, that's all I got for the Rule 5 draft discussion. We'll go ahead and have more conversation about this as the deadline approaches. Of course, go ahead and stay tuned to us to Locked On Astros podcast. We'll be here throughout the whole off season. Go and make us your team every day. And until the final out of the World Series, go ahead and make Locked On Game Night your first listen every day. Second listen, go ahead and find Locked On MLB Game Night every game, every night until World Series champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. For Brett and myself, go and thank you for subscribing to us, and we will see you tomorrow. And as Brett always says, go Astros.